Alright, so today I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I'm taking this parenting class. It's a 5-week course for parenting young children, which I have 3 children, 10, 9, and 6 years old. 2 boys, and the youngest is a girl. This is something, all honesty, my wife suggested. I was reluctant to do it, but now I'm doing it. And I think it's going to be beneficial, really, in the long run. A lot of these skills I've learned through taking my son to different counselors and me going to counselors myself. Pretty general, but useful and applicable things that you can do in parenting. Anyway, this is stuff I've had to learn as an adult that I'm still learning right now because, I didn't have these skills modeled for me when I was a child. And I think that's the case with a lot of people. Nobody, you only know what you've seen. And so you go into parenting with the skills or non-skills that you observed growing up. And that's pretty much it. They don't hand out instruction books when you decide to become a parent. You either parent like your parents parented you, or you figure out another way. And the way my parents parented me was not the most effective. So today I wanted to go over just this little. So here's this thing. This is the class. It's called Parenting Wisely. And there's this cool little handout that I thought I could share today. It is Parenting Wisely's 6 Principles of Effective Parenting. So I'm just going to go over some of these. This is when you're talking to your child, how you interact with your child. If you stick with these 6 principles, you're going to have a lot better luck in having healthy interactions with your children. So the first one they have here is specific. Be specific whenever you're asking them to do something, whatever you require from them. You want to be as specific as possible. You don't want to just say, go clean your room, right? They go clean their room, they pick up a couple toys, and they're like, yeah, I did it. Like, did you really though? And then you go look, and it's like, this is not clean. The bed's not made. There's still clothes on the floor. So being specific, and then even, the first couple times, maybe guiding them through it, being very specific about what it is you expect from them, what you want. So rather than just say, go clean your room, you're going to tell them specifically, hey man, I want you to pick up the clothes, put them in the hamper, get the clean clothes, put them in your drawers and hang them up, put the toys into the toy box, make your bed neatly, organize your stuffed animals the way, whatever it is that you have specifically you want done, that's what you do. Be very specific. Number 2, be consistent. Consistent is number 2. And that is, do it the same way every time. And this is where I struggle a lot, okay? Because when it comes to discipline, you might have a rule in the house, right? And, they might slip up and break the rule, and you give them a warning. But it needs to be, whatever your rule is, it needs to be the one warning, right? Not warning after warning, and that's where I mess up, right? I'm like, I don't want to deal with giving them the consequence, and so a lot of parents do this too, I think, where they're just like, hey, go sit down, and then the kid doesn't sit down, and it's like, hey, go sit down, hey, stop doing that, whatever, go sit down, and then by the time it's over, you're really pissed off, and you've told them to sit down 30 times. And they're not doing it. You know why they're not doing it? Because nothing happened to them the first 30 times. So it's about consistency. It's about having the same things, expecting the same things from them each time, and then following through with the consequence of not doing that specific thing. So another thing with being specific is telling them, what will happen if they don't do what you ask them to do, right? And then the consistency comes in, where you have to follow through every time in the same way, because if every once in a while you let them get away with it, then every time you ask the same thing of them, they're going to test you, and they're going to see, can I get away with it this time? So consistency, boom, number 2. Number 3, immediate. No matter what it is, with a kid, you don't want to give them either praise or consequences, much later. It needs to be right when the action happened, right? So, unless it's something like you're way too angry at the time to give a proper consequence for their action, right? If you're so angry, you would just be like, you're grounded for 6 months, right? You don't want to do that. But giving them immediate praise when you see something they like, and an immediate consequence if you're not too angry to do so when they don't do what they're supposed to do. So just doing those things immediately afterwards so that they associate it. It's like training a puppy, man. It's like training a puppy. You can't, like, if the dog pees on the carpet, you can't tell them no and then put them outside 2 hours later for that, right? You have to do it right away. You got to catch them as soon as they do it, so that they associate that with, like, oh, that's the thing I'm not allowed to do. I don't want to do that anymore because there's a consequence. Or other way, they will do the things that get them praise. Kids love being praised, and that's another thing where I struggle. Like, yeah, I'm fine at pointing out what I don't like, what they're doing, right? But, and I think a lot of parents struggle with this too, is just catching them being good, right? Catching them when they're doing something you like, doing something positive, doing something helpful. You want to tell them right away, hey, I love how you did that, thanks, that was a big help, and balance, okay? Or no, frequent. The next one is frequent. Parents should pick their battles and not target everything at once, right? Focus on their priorities and increase the frequency of their use of praise, smiles, and consistent rewards. So, giving the rewards frequently, right? It's just like you want to teach positive behavior and keep it as like keep it rolling, man. Keep it rolling. You want it to snowball, right? You want it to keep doing good things. So you want to frequently give them that praise, frequently give them that positive interaction, right? Like, hey, great job. Glad I'm so glad that you followed directions. You did a great job doing that. I love it. I love seeing you do this, and then we can have a good time, whatever. The next one is balance. And this is just taking all these things and balancing them out. Yes, you have to discipline your kids sometimes. Yes, they get consequences for their negative actions. But the idea is, and sometimes you love what they do and you praise it, and sometimes you don't like what they do and you have to kind of scold them, right? Well, the balance here, what they suggest, is a ratio of 4-to-1, at least 4-to-1. You want to have 4 positive interactions for every 1 negative. So if you got to tell them if you got to give them a consequence, right? You want to try to catch them doing something positive, something that you do like and do want to reward 4 times before they get another consequence for something they did wrong. So they, like I said, it's like training a puppy, man. You teach them by giving them treats before you give them discipline, right? You give them treats every time they perform whatever it is you want them to do. And then when they mess up, you got to let them know. But make sure you're constantly giving them those rewards, giving them those, even if it's just verbal rewards. Hey, great job, That makes me happy when you do that. That makes things run more smoothly when you do that. I'm so happy that you did that, and you're so smart for thinking of that, or creative, whatever it is. You want to get 4 of those positive interactions to every 1 negative interaction. So if you can focus on that ratio, you have a much better, consistent interaction with the children. So, and then the last one is meaningful. Rewards or negative consequences that are effective for one child may not be effective for another. Parents need to search for rewards and consequences that are meaningful to that child. So, taking away video games from a kid who doesn't really care that much about video games, that doesn't really teach them any kind of lesson as a consequence, right? And rewarding that same kid with a new video game is the same thing. You don't want to give them something that they don't care about as a reward, because when you do that, then it disincentivizes them. Why would they want to get stuff that they don't care about, right? You want it to be something that they like, something that they enjoy. Their reward system should be based on their interest. And the same thing with the consequences. Whenever you have to give them a consequence, it should be something that they're going to miss. It should be something that it's going to make them think about doing that thing again that you didn't want them to do. The next time they go to do it, they're going to be like, I don't want to lose this thing. I don't want to lose that thing, whatever it is. So you need to pick things appropriate for each child, things that they like, things that they dislike. You don't want to use things that they're so whatever about it. It's got to be meaningful things, meaningful rewards that they really enjoy. Whether it be taking them out to get ice cream, or taking them to go play laser tag, or whatever it is, or giving them a piece of candy, or whatever. It needs to be something that kid cares about. And same thing with taking things away or introducing consequences for negative actions. Anyway, something a little different today for the channel. I try to do a video a day and make it somewhat useful information, useful or entertaining at the very least. This one, like I said, it was a little off from some of the things I normally do, but I feel like it's useful stuff, so why not? And this is the stuff, basically I usually talk about what's on my mind, and this is on my mind because this is something I'm doing. I got 4 more weeks of this class, so I might be sharing some more stuff like this on the channel in the upcoming weeks. If you enjoy this video, please like the video, share the video if you found it useful, if you think other people can find it useful, and if you like the idea of me just kind of talking about what's on my mind each day, subscribe for more, because that's what I do here. Thanks for watching. And if you subscribe, if you stick around, I'll see you tomorrow.